Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing the battery life on the Motorola Moto Z. Once again, a big thumbs up to Clove Technology for sending me the review unit. So I'll be testing this phone for the whole month of December, so please feel free to ask me any questions should you wish. Now, those of you who watched my first video in which I also discussed the Moto mods briefly, I did receive the Nougat update for the Moto Z in the UK, so it's running at the moment Android Nougat 7.0. Let's get into settings and about phone before we start discussing the battery life. As you can see here, it's running Nougat 7.0, which is not the latest but the latest version of Nougat available. We also have 7.1.1 available on Pixel and Nexus devices. As you can see, this is the international variant of Motorola Moto Z, the model number as it says just there. So it's also running 1st November Android security patch level update. So this is obviously running Android Nougat, and I have taken some screenshots, guys, in my typical style to show you what kind of screen on times I've been getting on this phone. But before we get into the screenshots, let me just quickly tell you the specs on the phone. It's running Snapdragon 820 along with 4 gigs of RAM, has a 5.5-inch Quad HD screen, and the point to note, it's got only 2600 mAh battery. Yes, guys, this is not the Motorola Moto Z Force. It's the basic Moto Z. It does share the same DNA as the Force, but it has a comparatively smaller battery, very small in fact. For a Quad HD screen, 5.5-inch screen, I don't know what Motorola were thinking and why were they putting such a small battery in the phone. Is beyond my understanding, and you will see in a minute that the results are quite disappointing. But maybe because they wanted to sell the Moto mods. You got the CPO battery mod, which you can obviously put on to increase the battery life on the Moto Z, but I'm slightly disappointed by the fact that they have got a very small battery size inside because of the big screen size. A Quad HD is 2600 mAh is simply not enough. Anyways, let's start from the very first screenshot, guys. Once I got the phone from Clove Technology, straight away the Android Nougat update was waiting there for me, so I was able to install it straight away. Okay, so on the first run here, as you can see, I got the 4G up there. It was a bit of mixed use. Both Wi-Fi and 4G LTE were used. As you can see, the phone went down to 4%, and my normal use, including making lots of voice calls, browsing the internet, Chrome, obviously WhatsApping and everything else, I was using this phone as my daily driver. And as the graph shows you here, 14 hours of total usage, and the battery went down to 4%. And after a heavy day of use, both Wi-Fi and 4G, at times there was no signal because I work in an area where there is no mobile signal, so I normally tend to put the phone in airplane mode. So a bit of everything, bit of airplane mode, Wi-Fi only, 4G as well, and eventually I was able to achieve 3 hours and 29 minutes of screen on time. Obviously this is not acceptable for 2016 standards. In fact, this is one of the worst performances I've seen so far on a flagship phone with a Quad HD screen. The HTC 10, the Galaxy S7 Edge, phones like that are well capable of giving you over 5 hours of screen on time. So a bit disappointing, like I said, and it is all because of the small battery that Motorola has put in, that's leading to only 3.5 hours of mixed usage of screen on time. Okay, then I tested the standby time. As you can see, it shares on top left corner, 8:18 in the morning on the 12th of December, Monday. I left it at 18%, and when I checked it again in the afternoon around 13:40, the battery went down to 15%. So only lost about 3% in, I would say, around 8 to 9 hours, which is not too bad. It's pretty decent. Sorry, not 8 to 9 hours, I'm wrong. 8 to 13, about 6 hours. So around 6 hours, 7 hours, it lost about 3%, which is just about average, I would say, and nothing exceptional. Again, I took another reading here. You can see Wi-Fi was on, and once again I tested the phone in mixed usage. I'm sorry, guys, I was a bit busy, didn't have time to sit down separately for Wi-Fi and 4G, so I thought let's replicate it to a normal day's use, what an average user would do, use Wi-Fi and 4G both at the same time and out and about. I made lots of voice calls, but one thing about voice calls, guys, the people whom I were talking to at the other end were very happy with the phone's call quality. The mic was very clear and the speaker is very, very clear as well. In fact, a few of the people said to me this is probably the best sound they've had from me in a smartphone in a very long time. So well done to Motorola for giving us a very good mic and a very good speaker, and had no issues with call quality. In fact, like I said, one of the very best phones to make phone calls if that's what you are after. Okay, like I said, my normal regular day, WhatsApp, I listen to Bluetooth on the music, a lot of standby as well on the phone, Twitter, social media, Google Plus, all that stuff, guys. And after 1 day and 2 hours here, I wasn't using the phone as much. At times, I left the phone for a few hours on standby as well. And like I said, I tried to replicate it as an average user, and eventually I was able to get 3 hours and 3 minutes of screen on time. This is even worse than what I had before because I left the phone on standby, so it did lose a few percentages of battery here and there. But again, still hovering around the 3 to 3.5 hours of screen on time mark, which is once again, like I said, disappointing. Once again, I gave it another go, and 3% battery went all the way down to 1 day and 5 hours, and lots of voice calls, lots of social media, WhatsApping. Like I said, I was using the phone as my daily driver, and eventually after 1 day and 5 hours, I was able to achieve 3 hours and 8 minutes of screen on time. So the overall screen on time is quite disappointing on the phone. As you can see, is hovering between 3 to 3.5 hours of screen on time. If you go on Wi-Fi only, I reckon it might be just a few minutes more, but not by much, because it's a quad HD screen, a very pixel dense screen for a 5.5 inch, and 2600 milliampere simply is not enough. So in my opinion, it's below average. For some people it might be enough, but to me personally, of using so many phones, I personally think that for majority of people, this kind of battery life is simply not going to be enough. You probably have to buy the Incipio battery mod, or maybe go for the Motorola Moto Z Force, which unfortunately is not available in the UK. So guys, this was just a quick overview showing you the battery performance on the Motorola Moto Z. It has obviously Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 support because running Snapdragon 820, so charge is pretty fast. But then obviously fast charging can only help that much, because if the battery is going to go down this quick, you'll probably be charging it at least 2 or 3 times a day if you are a heavy user. So guys, this is pretty much it. I will be putting more videos on the phone, including gaming performance, and I'll be, like I said, some camera samples from the front camera and the back camera. The front camera's got a flash as well, so I'll be taking some selfies and also be putting them on my Instagram account. Links are in the description, so please do feel free to check my Instagram should you wish. And like always guys, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section, and like always, please subscribe as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.